The Lego smartbrick, hailed as the most significant innovation in Lego since the introduction of the minifig in 1978. I don't think so.
This is a purely bad product.
They suck.
Speed it up, you will absolutely hear it. The problem is the rattling gets very loud.
Ugly, janky, and like boring.
The development of the smartbrick began in 2017, and frankly, since its release earlier this year, I don't think it shows 10 years of development. To begin with, I believe the concept is flawed. While researching this video, I came across an article on the LEGO website talking about the development of the smartbrick, and it had an interview with one of the designers and talking about why they decided to create the smartbrick. It said, kids wanted a toy that could allow them to play with their friends. Secondly, it was important that their actions mattered and that the play responded to them. And thirdly, kids wanted an experience that evolved over time to the way they played. All of which LEGO already does. Some of my fondest childhood memories are playing with LEGO with my friends. And frankly, I think things like the smartbrick are just adding like a fad mindset and extra steps to what is one of the simplest and most beloved toys. These days, LEGO is one of the only toys that hasn't really changed in all of its years, apart from a few like small examples. And it feels like products like the smartbrick are trying to smash together concepts that don't really need to be combined. This is not the first time that LEGO's tried something like this, to varying but mostly disappointing levels of success, most notably and most recently with Hidden Side, a sub-theme of LEGO that included ghosts that could be seen using an AR app. The sets on their own were pretty playable, so I never used the app when I had these sets when I was younger. LEGO did a good job of hiding away the access to the features so that if you didn't want to use the app, you didn't have to, and the sets were good value on their own. Unfortunately, I don't think the same can be said about the Smart Play sets, with them looking ugly or incomplete without the inclusion of the Smart Brick. The problem with this is it makes it feel like the builds have suffered due to the inclusion of this technology, and instead of it being an addition, it's something that takes away from the experience of the set itself. One of the main reasons for this is because Hidden Side was an original theme, so people didn't have any expectation of what the set should look like. But in the case of LEGO Smart Play, people already know what a LEGO X-Wing looks like, and we've had great examples in the past. So LEGO is setting themselves up almost for disappointment from the get-go by making these sets Star Wars themed. Despite, in my opinion, being a better theme, LEGO Hidden Side still failed. The box art was confusing and the technology seemed lazy and tacked on, and it just feels like LEGO are making the exact same mistakes again. People buy LEGO for some old-fashioned fun, and for some people it acts as an escape for technology. For LEGO to keep including these tacked-on smart functions, it feels like the antithesis of everything they stand for, and it just disappoints me that they genuinely can't make good playsets anymore. The prices of these sets are insane. So this is a toy for children, and the cheapest smart compatible set, so one that doesn't include a smart brick, is £34.99 for 215 pieces, and that's the Luke's Landspeeder set. So while I know that price per piece isn't everything, I've graphed a chart that shows the retail price of smart play sets combined with an expected retail price that they should be based on a 10p price per piece. To make this a fair test, I've also put a graph together with the same margins for similarly priced regular LEGO Star Wars sets, so not the Smart Play ones, so we can compare them. So firstly, taking a look at the graph with the non-Smart Play Star Wars sets, these sets seem reasonably priced based on their pieces, with a small gap that is the Star Wars tax, which is about £10, which is expected as Disney does like to take their cut, so that's on the smaller end. As we move up in the prices, however, we can see that a lot of these sets seem to be a lot better deals, either closing the RRP/expected RRP gap, or actually being cheaper than they should be based on the amount of pieces in the set. We see this continue up until we get to the Republic Juggernaut, but that is a completely separate issue altogether, and I might make a video on the crazy prices of the Republic Juggernaut. Now compare this to the graph chart in the Smart Play sets. We can see that instantly the RRP/expected RRP gap is quite often a bit higher than for the normal sets, and that not one of these sets is cheaper than it should be based on the price. The closest being the Falcon at about £1 off expected, but this doesn't even include a smart brick. And this brings me to my main point. The fact that only 3 of these sets actually include a smart brick means that using those as an excuse for the higher prices is a completely redundant argument and doesn't actually make any sense at all. Not to mention that the Smart Play sets are generally quite ugly and that the minifigures are pretty much useless as they can't even be taken apart, so the value for kids is a lot less than what should be for the price. If you were a child and you were given £35 to spend at the Lego store, would you rather have this battle pack that includes 7 minifigures and 2 builds, or this Luke's land speeder that only includes 2 minifigs and doesn't even include a smart brick to access the full functionality of the set? To me, the choice is clear. So when going to the LEGO website to read the reviews for these sets, unsurprisingly, a lot of them aren't very good. Most talk about how they're overpriced, or that the smart brick wasn't included, or they thought it would be included. Now, where have we seen confusing box art before? Some notable quotes from these reviews are as follows. The most disappointing product that I could have ever gotten. And then there was this person who called it the antithesis of Lego, or this person who said this set was $100 and did not include a smart brick. Then there was this classic, Lego should be ashamed. So needless to say, not the warmest welcome from the community. One review that I wanted to highlight was this. I recently got my kids the new Lego Star Wars Smart Play sets, and they're a big hit. They have spent a lot of time building and playing with Luke's X-Wing and Darth Vader's TIE Fighter all in one set. Who talks like this? It's been written like it's been done by a robot or a Lego marketing executive. The italicization is used, the capitalization is used, the full and legal names of the sets is used. It just seems really weird. And now, I'm not accusing Lego of writing fake reviews, but they might have spent millions of pounds on marketing and promoting this smart play. And it wouldn't necessarily be so out of left field for them to put up fake reviews to try and bring up the average star rating on the LEGO website, which generally for these sets isn't very good. But that's just a theory. So that about wraps up this video, guys. I could say a lot more about a lot of this, but this video is taking me a lot of time to make already. If you've watched any of my previous videos, you'll know that this is a lot higher effort than my normal terrible content. So thank you very, very much for watching. I hope you did enjoy. And what I did want to say is, while I'm not against Lego trying to create new things, I do think this smart play thing is a bit against what they stand for as a company, and we'll see how it goes over the next few months. So thank you very, very much for watching, and I'll see you again.